conspiracy theorist, but you don't have to be one to find this weird.
I do believe we're not watching real people.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
A reporter who has been avidly exposing Epstein's Zorro Ranch connections is fleeing the U.S.
Welcome back to Dark Dive Reacts. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Ashley, and today I'm going to show you some reels from my algorithm that made me stop and think. I question everything, and these videos will do the same for you. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Viewer discretion is advised. All claims are alleged, and this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's take a dark dive.
Shit's crazy. I need you to start at the beginning.
All right, let's go back, way back. It all starts with the original rebellion. Lucifer, the morning star, gets jealous, wants the throne, convinces a third of the angels to follow him. That's hundreds of millions of celestial beings. When they get cast out of heaven, they don't just float around in some abstract hell. They need a physical foothold on Earth to operate, so they set up their base in what would become Los Angeles, the city of lost angels. These fallen ones, they're not just chilling, they're shapeshifters, energy vampires. They figured out how to hijack human bloodlines, especially the elite ones. That's why the same families keep running everything for centuries. The same demonic souls keep reincarnating into new bodies, which is why you see those identical historical lookalikes. The Hollywood sign originally said Hollywood land, Hollywood, the wood of the holy tree used in magic rituals. They inverted it, made it about creating false idols, the stars. We literally put these possessed celebrities on pedestals while the real celestial bodies get ignored. The Walk of Fame, that's a graven image ritual. Every time someone steps on those stars, they're unknowingly participating in the worship. The music, the movies, the awards shows, it's all satanic ritual. The red carpets represent the blood they need to stay in these bodies. The flashing lights and frequencies in the films, that's how they keep the masses in a trance. They've been running this game for thousands of years. The Illuminati isn't some new thing. It's just the latest front for these fallen entities trying to corrupt humanity before the final reckoning.
There's an 1893 firmament map you can type in. It's on the Library of Congress. So it's on a government website, like it's straight up right on the government website, and it's called the firmament map. And you can just look that one up. It says 1893. You just type it in. It's not even hidden from the people. So, you know, when they're trying to talk about where they're going and we're going to Mars and, you know, going to space, they're not going anywhere. And a perfect example of this, the India moon landing. The India moon landing looks like an Atari graphics moon landing. You see like this little pixelated thing go pip, 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 and it lands on allegedly the moon, and the Indians are they're just clapping away. They've done it. It's crazy that you can make people believe that, right? Like if somebody believes that, they watched Atari graphics and they thought they went to the moon. Oh goodness. Imagine what else you can make them believe. You know, you can make them believe to take a whole bunch of and put them in their body. You could also make them believe that they need to wear 64 masks. Like something like that.
Why do our history books seem to always omit the most important details? This is a tale of the Choctaw Indians and the Trail of Tears that led them to southeastern Oklahoma and the horrible monsters they had to battle. Now, the Trail of Tears, we are taking it as 100% fact when we read the Choctaw records, but for some reason, when they mention the Shimpe, which is a giant ogre-like man, hairy creature that was terrorizing their tribe, for whatever reason, that part, we just toss it and throw it out. Why? That was an important detail. So apparently, the Choctaw Indians fought these Shimpe for decades. In fact, about 40 Choctaw warriors had to band together and track them down and find their den, their hiding place in the wilderness, and exterminate them. So the kids in the village would stop being taken in the middle of the night. The Shimpe were supposedly these big creatures that we would describe as Bigfoots. Big 7 to 8 foot, hairy, ogre-like creatures that would devour anybody, but especially children. And they were known to let out these monstrous screams in the middle of the night that would just bud curdling. Everybody would say they would just freeze in place when they heard one of these. And when they would hear one, they would start hearing more and more and more. And they would kind of circle and isolate anybody that was on the outside of the encampments or anybody who might have gone off on their own. and people would just turn up gone. After the hunting parties would go out, they would find the remains of their children, their women, some of their men that might have wandered off alone. So after decades of this, enough was enough. They rounded up a group of the 40 best warriors they could find, and they went on a day's end search party until they found that den where they were all hiding at. Now, the legend says that they did not get all the Shinpei. They had this ferocious battle where they came out on top because the Shinpei weren't really using tools. They were just, using their hands and their enormous size and strength. After they hunted them down, they noted that several of them actually escaped the raid and went off into the wilderness. But the Choctaw said after that, they never had any dealings with them that were bad again. So either the Shinpei learned their lesson to stop dealing with the Choctaw, or they moved on and went somewhere else. And this could be the reason why people say today that Bigfoots are so hard to find, is because they were almost hunted to extinction after they were being so incredibly violent. So it's like one of those chain of effects things. It was, the Choctaw Indians were not originally in that part of Oklahoma. They were forced away from their home into what is the Shinpei's or the Bigfoot's home, and then they were feuding, and then the Shinpei got pushed out, and now we see Bigfoots in other parts of the world. Now, a little side note on that is this was not a new or unique story. Tons of different settlers and explorers talked about seeing these creatures, and they had all kinds of different names for these creatures. The Bigfoot legend got really popular back in the 1960s and 70s, but they talked about them for literally thousands of years. There are so many old stories and legends of them. And I think the only reason why these stories didn't get popular until the 60s or 70s is because that's when photographs and home video was more accessible, and people started actually capturing these creatures on video and camera. We always like to say the reason why I don't believe that they appear blurry is everybody always says, oh, why can't they get a clear photo or a clear video? And my belief on that is the same as a lot of the Native American beliefs, is that Bigfoots or Shinpei are not 100% creatures of our realm or our dimension. And that if you watch the show From, where there's portals in the trees and there's different ways they can move about that we don't know about or have access to, the Native American legends actually talk about how they could do such things, about how they could disappear into the trees, quite literally, not just hiding in the trees, quite literally disappearing amongst the trees. And they might not be on the same light waves and frequencies as we are. Something else I always like to point out, there is a spray that you can look up, that you can spray it on your license plate, and the naked eye cannot see the spray that you put over your license plate. But when you try to take a photo of that license plate, it will come back blurry, because that spray is like a special type of oil that actually refracts light. So if you're going down the toll roads and you run a toll, it can actually scramble that image, and they don't know where to send the ticket to. Now, it is illegal to do that to your license plate. Please don't go out and start buying this stuff. But if there was an animal or a creature that could excrete some kind of oil that had the same properties, every time it would appear to be videoed or taken a picture of, it would appear blurry or obscured in some way. So that is the question I'm asking tonight, I guess. Circle this thing back around, is we take that whole Trail of Tears document as 100% true, and then when it gets to something that doesn't match our history books and our timeline, we just omit it. Why? If all they were writing down in their documents were real things that were happening to them on this trip, why would they just make up something in the middle of it? And I think the answer is they didn't. I think the answer is that our historians, the powers that be, don't really want to deal with these questions. And I also think that's why we have national park systems where they're located at right now. So if you think about it, the United States should be one big national park system, but it's not. We said these areas are national park systems. What if we knew the areas where these Shinpeis or other creatures settled, and we marked those areas off for them because they were too human-like to treat them like animals, but still animal enough to not want them in our society? So we said, okay, this is going to be where they're at, and we're going to mark these off as national parks. We're going to mark these off as no light zones, no construction zones, and we'll let them have their natural habitat. And that could also be why we have the missing 411 that also takes place in the U.S. national park systems. If you don't think you could hide there, look up our cave systems. It is wild how you can take a map of the U.S. national park systems, the United States missing peoples system, and the cave system, and they all just line up perfectly with one another. All three maps can be set right on top of each other, and it is a perfect outline of one another. Appreciate you guys watching tonight's video. If you want to follow our podcast, it's called Matt from Nomads on Spotify and Apple Podcast. If you want to watch us on YouTube, it's called Nomads Animal Reserve. Thank you all so much. The link for that is going to be in the comments.
Some trippy videos today, huh? When I'm picking these out, I watch 5 to 10 seconds and then I can already tell if it's going to be a good video or not. And then I just download it and I put it into a folder and I save it for myself for these episodes. So you are getting true reactions from me. And these videos are blowing my mind today. Wow.
I know someday you'll have a beautiful life. I know you'll be a star, being somebody else's sky. But why can't it be? How can it be mine?
My husband and I were doing a lot of fluid art right before the pandemic, and then we got into resin art during the pandemic. And I just love that one, the way they're, and then the beat just really goes with it. I want to try that painting.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, can I help you?
I'm Finn and I'm with the local Democrats and we're just going door to door ahead of the election next month. I was wondering if you had a second to answer a couple quick questions.
Why do you have your camera?
So I'm just documenting this because we're going to end up making a documentary about it. We're hoping that we beat all the Republicans in all the districts. It'll just be 2 quick questions.
Okay, well, it's 2 quick questions.
Yes, it's literally
really cold out. I'm freezing. I have my crock pot going in the kitchen for my dinner.
Okay.
We'll be eating very soon, so
Okay.
come on in for a couple of minutes.
For the documentary.
Yes, I'm fine with that.
Okay, great. So my name's Finn, in case you're wondering, and I'm with the Disabled Zealots Navigating Unfair Treatment, or D's Nuts, and we're just kind of trying to get an idea of how people feel on the relevant issues this election. So it's just two issues that I'm asking about. So do you support an all-out ban on guns?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. The violence has been really bad this year. It's terrible. I lost a cousin on the south side.
I'm very sorry to hear
thank
that.
you.
That's why we need to ban it.
I agree. And do you think that women should have access to abortions and reproductive care? Okay, great. The last question, and then I'll get out of your hair. What do you think about MAGA Republicans that say they're just going to ban abortion outright and get rid of it and make it illegal? They're like, oh, we're just going to outlaw it totally. Do you think that would work?
I don't think so. No.
Do you think
take a lot more
people would get abortions anyways?
Yes, they will. Absolutely. They'll find somebody to go to, or another doctor, or somebody they know. Yes, and they're going to get that abortion. Absolutely.
Isn't that...
And it's up to the person.
Okay. Isn't that the problem with trying to ban guns?
No, because...
people are just going to find a way to do it?
Yes, they will.
Okay. So they're just going to find a way to do it, just like with abortion, aren't they?
You know what?
So what's the point?
Honestly, it was nice talking with you, but I think you need to get your coat, and I think you need to get the hell out of my house.
So you can't answer the question. I'll get out.
Get out of my house.
So you're deporting me?
Yes, I am. I need
so
to
I
get the hell out of my
thought.
house.
So you're admitting that you can't ban it? Are you admitting that you can't ban
need
it?
to just get out
Because
of my
they'll
house.
just find a way to get guns anyways, won't they?
Nope, just get out of my house now. I answered your 2 questions, and that's it.
In my previous episode, I shared another one of his skits, and I was asking if anybody knew if he actually plans this or is he really approaching strangers, and that one felt authentic. I'm a registered independent. really try to stay out of the whole political arena, but then there are subjects that I'm really passionate about, and that's do not indoctrinate my children and abortion. I feel like everybody has their own choice to make, and if there was a ban on it, people would still find a way to get it. Just like guns. You ban guns, guess what? Then all the criminals are still going to have them. Like, you can't just just because you ban stuff doesn't mean that it's going to go away. And that's actually when it gets more dangerous for guns and abortion. But I believe that there needs to be more education and awareness on both guns and abortion. More people.
Here's a hard pill to swallow. The Epstein files are directly related to 9/11. You'll notice they've picked a couple years there to not release any files. Gee, I wonder why. Why would Epstein have a framed picture of this? That's crazy. By the way, you ever seen this coin that was made back in 1967 in Israel? That's interesting.
Explain that. Go ahead. Explain it.
I'm a conspiracy theorist, but you don't have to be one to find this weird. Back in the 1800s and early 1900s, there were hundreds of thousands of orphans being shipped across the United States. And it wasn't just the United States, other countries had massive orphan situations too. Around that same time, you have entire cities burning down, Chicago, Boston, San Francisco. You have thousands of adults being placed into insane asylums. And then you have these massive world fairs with buildings they say were just temporary and then torn down. Now I'm not saying anything crazy, but hypothetically, if someone wanted to reset the world and rewrite history by making sure the past is forgotten, what would that look like? Would it look like burned cities, the adult population being thrown into asylums, and tearing down remnants of the past, and then being left with orphans to repopulate the world and shape the narrative? Maybe it's all just coincidence, or maybe our history is a little more complicated and more weird than we were taught. But I don't know. I'm just a conspiracy theorist. Let me know what you think.
All I can come up with is that they were orphans from the war, and then they just had all these children. But it's odd, right? What'd they do with all the parents? If they didn't die in the war, then they were thrown into insane asylums so that they could do a reset. What do you think? Let me know in the comments.
I do believe we're not watching real people. I do believe people have been replaced.
Yeah, there's definitely some weird things that have gone. I would say over the last, year and a half to 2 years, I noticed more and more people where I'm like, interesting. They look weird. You know, we already went through the Jim Carrey one.
It's not him. I don't care what you say. It's not him. But then if you just look at the comments, you will see who truly is awake, who truly is so far off the mark.
I really like ammonites. They come in all sizes, and if you get the polish just right, you can see a rainbow effect in them, and they're really quite beautiful. could just feel the energy looking. Like, imagine how it would feel to just be in that cave. Side note, we found a frog in our backyard yesterday. And whenever it's raining, like you can hear it croaking, and it doesn't sound like a regular croak. It's like I can't even imitate it. It's just we could not figure out what it was like last year. And then we finally seen one somewhere else, like, oh, it was in a drain while my husband was at work. And it was doing that same sound. And then it made sense. We're like, oh, it was a frog in our backyard. We found him yesterday. He's back there. He's in the ground. Living his best life.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Alex Jones was right about the atrazine and what it does to frogs.
They took atrazine and they put it in a tank with 40 frogs, and 30 of those frogs were chemically castrated. 4 of them turned into females and produced fertile eggs.
The timing on that one, right after I had just mentioned a frog in my backyard. I'm going to assume that the frog in my yard is not gay. But, hey, the frogs have turned gay. Is everything really fake and gay? Beautiful.
A reporter who has been avidly exposing Epstein's Zorro Ranch connections is fleeing the U.S. Elisa Valdez Rodriguez claims she is having Havana syndrome-like symptoms. And if you don't know what Havana syndrome is, it's basically an attack from a directed energy weapon that causes damage to your brain and other parts of your body. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to be looking into what she's been saying recently.
We are run by satanic pedos who don't want you to understand anything about yourself. That's why they give you endless pleasure and entertainment. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, bills. Everything they do is to keep you looking outside yourself. Because the moment you look within, you start to realize you hold the power over your reality. And they're using us to create their reality. The elites don't do anything. They simply just control our perception. You gain your power back when you start to understand consciousness.
We do have a sale going on our website, clothandbottleco.com. I sell these tapestries. My husband and I do, I think there's 12 or 14 different prints. And I believe they're $22, and then they're 20% off. And if you spend over $30, you get free shipping on the website. I also sell my cloth diapers. We have some American themed prints, Fly Free, Ameripop, and Old Glory. Obviously, if you don't have kids or cloth diaper infants, then we have wet bags. They make really good beach bags, waterproof, or you could take it to the gym, to the pool, you name it. Please go check it out if you're interested in supporting the channel.
Whoever thought that holding a cell phone in your hand while it's plugged in might risk your life? We filmed this earlier today and I'm about to go Amish.
Unplugged. Unplugged. Okay, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I'll have to collect them around my house and share them all with you sometime. But part of my resin art was crystal art healing, and I made a lot of EMF pieces. They help. It's a combination of crystals and metals, and it collects the EMF that's around you, like Wi-Fi, cell phone. Instead of it absorbing into your body, it absorbs into the crystal resin piece. You're not supposed to sleep with the phone next to you, especially not charging. Like anytime your phone is charging, you should have it across the room, across the house if you can. And yeah, protect yourself. Our bodies are organic. And they're the only one we have.
Sometimes I'm like, no worries, but in my head there are actually many worries.
It looked like a person. That is such a weird looking cat. I'm a cat person, and that cat, like cat person. I'm a cat person. That cat looked like a person. Okay, let's go. That was like a rabbit and a cat bred and had that cat. It's not AI. That's an actual cat, and it's a birth defect in their ears. They're born like that. That she's not the only one. There was more, but it seemed like they were black cats, so it might be something to do with the birth defect and the black cat.
Okay, I'm going to talk about something that's kind of controversial to probably a lot of people that follow me and stuff, and just because possibly they haven't seen very many of my videos and what I talk about. Right now, what's going on is we have the new president-elect, which will be Donald Trump. In the conspiracy world, a lot of people are saying that he is going to take down the deep state and fix everything. But that's wrong with the world right now. You know, all the crazy stuff, like the LGBTQ stuff and the free speech stuff, and the you know, drain the swamp of the deep state. So many of these people that believe this, most of them are newcomers to the conspiracy world, newcomers to what's going on. They don't realize that no one gets in power like this. They're not allowed to unless they're in the program. Even Donald Trump and his family. You gotta realize that these owl interdimensional beings, they have their fingers, tentacles, or whatever you want to call them, in all the major players at the top, including all the good guys, most of them. Most of the good guys that portray to be good. So this, from my research, as I was going over it in the past, and all these, you know, seeded people, reptilian people, snake people, the knights, and the actual owls that are inside people. There's certain groups involved. There's a group called the Nine or the Nine Oaks. And it's an unknown group. Nobody really knows about them. They are connected to the Greys and the Owls somehow, and these higher up people. And they're in positions of power all over the place. Now, the most crazy part about this that some people are not going to be able to understand is the fact that Donald Trump and some of his family members, not all of them, are owls or snakes or oaks, one of the nine oaks. He's not a hero, but he's playing a hero right now. And people think, you know, they're going to have a really hard time accepting what I'm saying here. Most of the people that are really going to get it are the ones that have been at this for a very long time and know what I'm talking about. The new conspiracy theorists, you know, the ones that started out in 2020, basically, because COVID woke a lot of people up. They don't have enough information yet to even understand this. And the hardest part about knowing all this stuff is, and this is another controversial thing, and it has to do with the fact that all religion is the owl's creation. Most of the stories in there, in the Bible, in the other religious texts and books, none of it has to do with God. It's all a scam to control everybody. And we have a large religious group right now that are conspiracy theorists online. And, you know, they believe in a lot of stuff that I believe in. The only problem is they can't let go of their religion, or they can't let go of the fact that Jesus is their savior. They don't understand how this symbolism, what the cup of Christ is, and all this other stuff, these lies that are in there about it. I talk about it in different videos. I talked about the Holy Grail cup, and what it actually represents is the woman's womb. And when they drink of the Grail, they're drinking of menstrual blood. And this has to do with a weird drug that does some really weird interdimensional messing up of the mind in rituals. You know, the blood drinking, the baby drinking of adrenochrome. There's two things going on there, because you have the actual high and wonder that these evil, sick buggers are drinking it. And it's not just that, but when they torture these individuals, young kids or whoever they are, the interdimensional beings are eating the loosh at the same time. So you have their followers that are doing the nasty shit, or the snake people too, that are physical form. And you also have the interdimensional beings feeding off this stuff. There's so much to this, and you have to look into these weird things and understand that these things have infiltrated the alternative media. I watched it happen. I watched how the alternative media grew over the years and became a trusted source for information for truthers. And of course, they have their hands in that. They have people working in that area. And a lot of them are religious in the backgrounds. You know, a lot of these conspiracy people are religious, and they talk about their prayers, and they talk about this and stuff. And you have to realize that it's all a scam. If you can't realize that you have to let these things go, you won't be able to see the whole truth. You won't be able to see it all. You have to let these things go to be able to open your mind up to see the bigger picture. You know, I also wanted to say before I end this video, a lot of people tell me that I'm talking doom and gloom. And yeah, I am. I'm talking doom and gloom. I'm talking about the horrors of this reality. And sure, some people might get scared of this, and, and it is scary in a way. But we're not going to get through this until we realize that it is a horror place we live in, this place. It is a hidden horror that so many people are unaware of. But if you open your eyes and let go of all these other things, you can see it. Then you'll be able to start seeing the good on how we're going to do some things about this. And I also talk about the good. I haven't talked enough about the one and the good things that are coming from what I heard about this, and the good guys. And there's a lot of them. Different races, different beings. This owl race, this interdimensional race, is not just on this planet. They've taken over other races, other alien races, as you would call them, other beings from other worlds. They kind of remind me of when you watch the X-Files and you have the black goo. They were telling us something in there, and the black goo would control whoever it went into. It didn't matter if it was another alien race or a human. It was like a parasite. And once they got in them, they took them over. I got to explain more. I got to talk more about the one and the other things that I know about. And it's, you know, when I start talking about aliens and I talk about different races and different beings out there and stuff like that, and space, the other conspiracy that wrecks it for all this is the flat earth conspiracy. And then that one just destroys what I'm trying to talk about too. Right? So the flat earth thing is a lie to cover up this truth. So you don't look for it. Same as the other things, the religion, the other stuff. So I wanted to get this out there, and I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me on this because they believe right now that they have a savior, that they have a hero that's going to fight for them. But that was the whole plan, to fool you again.
I didn't expect that to be that long, but oof. That was a lot of information, huh? So I have not heard about the owls yet. The Holy Grail being drinking from a menstrual cup. Like, I know that there are people that say that there is healing properties in menstrual blood. I don't know any of those people personally. I just have seen them online, and I'm not anybody to say that what you believe is wrong. Like, yeah, I believe that one. There's just so much, and all these conspiracies have come true except the flat earth. Poor flat earthers. But yeah, that was a lot of information. Trump being an owl, I don't know, but it's like the more that people learn and jump on the conspiracy bandwagon, it's like the darker it gets and the more we become aware. I definitely believe that there's some dark shit going on. Not just everything that we found out in the Epstein files, but I believe it's going to get a lot darker. We need to know. This whole disclosure was BS. Like, we need to know. We need to know the truth. We deserve to.
Take me out into a field filled with sunflowers. I could sit around for 2 or even 3 hours. I could lay around and think, but I have a superpower.
Thank you guys for joining me today and watching my video. In this corner will be my playlist. Don't binge it all in one day because that's not healthy, but keep coming back. I have really good videos that you're not going to see on anybody else's channel. And this one will be my most recent upload. It is struggling a little bit, so please watch that one after this one. I do have a video that's made it up to 500 views, and that's my highest video, so I'm really proud of that one. And if you're not subscribed, I hope that I earned your subscription today. Everybody, happy 4th of July. Please be safe out there. Make smart decisions. Don't drive anywhere. Even if you haven't been drinking, don't drive because there's going to be other people that are making that poor decision. And it might be your last drive. Thanks for coming. I hope that I can get another video out sooner for those of you that keep coming back. And yeah, be safe this weekend, please.